Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. This episode of Welcome Home is brought to you by DVC Rental Store. Thank you for joining us on episode 341 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom, here with Trevor. How's it going, Trevor?
Hey, doing all right. How are you?
Oh, busy. We've been...
It's that time of year, right? It's more focused on getting stuff done than like trip planning and stuff like that, right?
Well, trip planning. Well, I think I talked about it on the last episode. Like, we don't have a vacation schedule for this year, and it's like a little bit killing me. Like, I'm dying inside from this. I need to do something, but I don't know what that's going to be yet. And I think we talked about, we were just kind of waiting around, hoping there were going to be some cruise deals in the summer, when they try to like fill some rooms and stuff. And that's what we were thinking we might do. But I don't know. We're just we've just been so busy. We haven't even really been thinking about it,
Yeah, no, I get it. And, similarly for us is, we're deciding to funnel all of our points into next year for a bigger trip. So yeah, it's the same thing. It's like you kind of like it feels like something's missing, even though you have something planned. It's still like, yeah, but I want to go now.
Yeah, but I need a break right now. I need time off.
I will admit, I have been thinking about this. We agreed, my wife and I agreed that we're like, no, we want to have as many points available as possible for next year, because we're going to be doing things way above and beyond what we would normally do, including like staying in a bungalow. So I don't want to spend any extra points this year. But then in the back of my head, I'm like, could I, we could stay in like a Saratoga and it would only cost us like, 30 points and it's like, no. Don't be tempted. Don't be tempted. Yeah. The problem is that it like when you're talking about like banking and borrowing points and everything, like, I guess this is something, when we started all of this, like DVC stuff, that was talked about as a feature of DVC, is that, hey, you can bank and borrow. And it's like, oh, that sounds amazing. But the part that they don't tell you about is that when you get used to a certain cadence of taking trips, and then it's like, oh yeah, if you want to like bank your points, it's like all of a sudden that disrupts your like yearly trip thing, right? It's it's like, oh wait, that like it's good, but it's also like, wait, what do you mean I have to wait for the next trip? Like,
yeah, exactly. I actually, so it's I think I don't know if I talked about this on the show or just to you. I never know what we talk about and what, like, I forget,
we talk have side conversations. Yeah.
So like, and this is not a plug for the sponsor at all, but, and it just so happens that we're talking about this right now, but like DVC Rental Store does a thing where you can book cruises with your points, but it's not like when you do it through Disney where it's like a really bad deal. Like basically you're giving them your points and then they're booking a cruise for you. And it's so like the exchange is much better. Like it makes a lot more sense to do it that way. Like, cause we could take like a week-long cruise for less than our yearly allotment of points. I mean, like that's, which, if we were to do it through Disney, it would be much more, and they don't charge you that fee.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
So it's more like the equivalent of like renting your points out and then booking a cruise, but they're kind of doing it both in one step.
Yeah, they're doing it like almost like a single transaction. It's pretty cool the way that it works, and I would love to get somebody on here to talk about it at some point, because it is a really cool thing, and I think it's through Rental Store, and I'm on their website now and I'm trying to find it and I can't. But no, there's I was looking into it and I was like, oh, it's a swap. Yeah, so it's swaps, right? So they do Disney cruise swaps, and so like an example is like you can do a 7-night Eastern Caribbean cruise for a family of 4 for 583 points, where it would cost you 754 points with booking with Disney. Like you end up saving like a lot of points doing it that way, right? And also, like, I mean, that's for a family of 4. For 2 adults, if it was just me and my wife, we could do a veranda room for 241 points for a 5-night cruise. I mean, that's like I said, that's we'd still have points left over after that. Like,
yeah, that's not bad.
No, I mean, we might actually end up doing that. I don't know. So we're going to see though. But we don't have, I don't want to say we don't have another use for our points this year. We may still end up going to Disney. My daughter was asking me like, we were going to Disney this year. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe, like,
okay. No, sorry. I'm going to stop you there. You're missing an opportunity. If your kid says go to Disney, you're going to Disney. Like, why are you arguing this? And I'm totally being devil's advocate right now. So
here's okay. So I talked about this, I think, last episode. The problem we're running into is when to go, because summertime at Disney is miserable. It just is. It's so hot. And it's really hard to do that day in and day out and not just be kind of miserable in the heat. Now, and my wife and I have done this a lot. We used to go in July, which is probably the worst of all, right? So, it doesn't bother me that much. It doesn't bother my wife that much, but it does bother my daughter. I would, obviously I would much rather go during like an off time where it's cool and, it's not, stiflingly hot. But that's tough because those are the times that she's in school. So, listen,
I'll give you my advice. And I think I've said this before, is take advantage of those weeks when teachers convention is going on.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
Because, the kids, or at least for us, the way teachers convention plays out, and there's a couple of weeks in the year, at least for us, that we have it like twice a year where this happens, where the kids will be out of school Thursday, Friday. So then, they really only have a 3-day week. So we always plan we go during that week so that, my son would only miss 3 days of school, which is, far easier to handle than him missing a full week.
Yeah.
And then you kind of, you get best of both worlds, is that, your kid's they're not falling behind in school, and you're also, able to go during the cooler time and, kind of closer to when you actually want to go. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I would push you towards that, or that would be me being the bad influence on you, I guess. That you should be looking at when the school schedule is in the fall, and plan for a week when it's like a 3-day week that you can pull it out of school for a couple of days and just go.
Well, I think, and I think we talked about this too. Like what I would like to do is do maybe a little bit of a shorter cruise, maybe like a 5-day cruise, and then maybe do 3 or 4 days at Disney. Like that would be the ideal situation. I just haven't sat down. I haven't had the time to sit down and plan it, to be totally honest. It's been a crazy year so far. I mean, it's already almost the end of February here. So it's been a crazy year. I just, I don't know. I agree with you, Trevor. I those are the good times to do it. Although we had a bunch of snow days, and so they ate up a lot of the days off that the kids were going to have going forward.
What?
Yeah. Oh, because we don't have like built-in snow days, Trevor. Because we don't have snow days like ever. So
we don't have like built-in snow days either. I mean, sorry, that the only time that we actually get snow days is when it's like -40 and the bus is too cold to actually start.
No.
So that they don't like cancel school up here because of snow days, but when we've had those days where like school is canceled due to extreme weather, they don't like take it out of a pool of day. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Up here, they're just like, yeah, you missed a day anyway. Moving on.
Well, it's only after you do a certain amount, right? So like, because we missed a bunch, like they have like a little buffer there, but it's like if they took any more days, they were going to have to start taking away some of those days. So,
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, it's just a matter of me sitting down and figuring out when we're going to do that. The other complication is this, and I talked about this too, is that we want to go with another family. And I don't think they want to do the Disney leg part of this because of the heat. But I don't know. That's probably part of it too. It's always hard for me to try to book a vacation when other people are involved,
right?
You got to like coordinate all these schedules, and 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 I don't know.
Is it fair? Like, or I guess if they're asking you to plan it, I feel that's also giving you the ability to make authoritative decisions.
Well,
like, this is
when
we're
really
going.
asking me to, though. They're not really asking me to.
They're just saying we would like to go with you, but they're not committing to like
it kind of ends up being me by default, right? Like, 'cause it's like,
I mean,
which I understand. But
then I think you need to establish that, you have veto power and you can say, nope, this is what we're doing, right?
Yeah, I don't want to
be my argument. I mean, I'm saying this as, I don't know all the dynamics here. I'm just saying this outside is that I would be like, if I'm planning it, this is what we're doing. Kind of similar actually, like when I went with my brother last year, and he was very like, he knew up front, he's like, you do this all the time. I'm relinquishing control of the planning of this to you. And I basically said to him, okay, this is what we're doing. And he was like, all right, fine. But again, a little different because it was only two of us. And he knew that, trying to argue planning with me wasn't going to go very far because I had far more information than he did at that point.
No, I understand that. I just don't like being the person that's doing this. Like
being the person planning or the person telling other people what to do.
I feel like there's like a lot of pressure when you do that, because it's people like I want to make sure that everybody has a good time, and like it feels like it's like it's on me if they don't. You know what I mean?
True. Sorry,
That's
true in the sense
it's in my
that
head. No, it's in my own head.
Yes, I get that, but this was something that I learned both with my son and when I went with my brother, because I had this conversation with my son the last time that we went. Was there's like when you're planning it, you have like all of the information, and you're like, if this doesn't play out, that this thing didn't happen, and that you missed out on X because you have pre-established experience and everything that lets you that. The other people, if the people are not involved in the planning, they're actually not disappointed because they don't know what they were missing out on because they were not involved in the planning. Right. Like, I had this conversation with my brother that, we were in Epcot and it was raining and I was kind of lamenting about like, it's not the greatest day for this. And he was like, dude, like, this is great. Like, I don't see what the problem is here. But I was like looking at it from the lens of like, oh, but I've been here when it was like, it was nice out and we could go and do this and you didn't have to like, run between buildings. And he's like, yeah, but we're still getting stuff done. And it's like, he didn't see the negative side of it because he didn't have a frame of reference for what was, and he had been to Epcot before, but he's like, I haven't been here in like 15 years. So for me, like, this might as well be new. And so for him, it was like, yeah, this is fine. Like, I don't see what the problem is. And so it was more my own expectations that were not being met, not there. So like from the angle of planning, it's like, I think the only one that's actually really disappointed is the person who's doing the planning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So just something to keep in mind. It's, it's a little bit of an interesting thought exercise when you are the one who's having to plan a vacation, right? So
I just don't like being that person anymore.
Yeah, I know, because you're the one who knows. But then when you realize that people are not actually like upset or like they don't know that it's like, oh, I had to like change this at the last minute or we didn't do this. It's like they don't know. They don't like like they don't know what all the planning that went into it. They're just like, when they're just along for the ride, they're like, yeah, cool. Like,
yeah, that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. Okay, well, Trevor, I will see what happens. Listen, now that we're talking about this, I feel like I'm going to spend the rest of the day today trying to like figure this out because I hadn't really been thinking about it, and now I'm thinking about it. So it's like maybe I should actually go think about it and try to look for some stuff. I don't know. We'll see.
So I'm going to live vicariously through you, Tom, and I'm going to say, at the very least, figure out if it's feasible this year. And if it is, then make sure you share it with us so that I can live vicariously through you.
It's certainly feasible. I just gotta figure out when. And I said, when my wife got her job situation figured out, which she did, that we would plan a vacation, but we just haven't gotten to it yet. We've just been busy. It's been a busy time. So anyway, I mean, that's what's going on over here. I'm trying to think of anything else, Trevor. I mean, I don't know. I haven't really done a whole lot of Disney-esque things, although I think
that's okay right now as well. Like, the breaks are good. And honestly, that kind of plays into, we have a rundown that is very light this week
very light.
Yeah, because there really hasn't been a lot of
not this
Disney
week.
stuff to talk about.
No, not this week. There will be more, but this week has been a little quiet. So there are quiet weeks. Listen, that's how it goes. But I will tell you one thing. I opened my mail the other day, Trevor, and it had the little membership Magic Beyond the logo on it. And I was like, ooh, what's this? It was a padded envelope too. And so that got me excited, right? Because it was like, ooh, padded envelope.
Oh, did
right?
you got the surprise gift.
I did.
This first item on the list you have on the rundown. So you got one. Okay.
I did get one. So I was like, when I felt that it was a padded envelope and I saw that it said membership Magic Beyond, I was like, wait, is this a MagicBand slider? Am I going to get a MagicBand slider? And sure enough, a nice little membership Magic. It's funny to me though that they're doing this the year, like they're giving it to me now, and I had it in 2025. You know what I mean? Like I don't have it this year.
Yeah. Is this, or I guess when they say 2025 membership Magic Beyond subscribers, I guess, that's people who had it the previous year.
Yeah.
Or is this still the 2025 year?
No, because it actually says 2025 on it. So it's for the calendar year. It's not like when you sign up, you get it from a year from that date. Like if you sign up on like November 1st, you only get it from November 1st to the end of December. Like it's all dependent like on a calendar year. So right. Like it's just it's funny to me. Now, I'm not going to complain, and I also know what they're doing here. This is it doesn't matter.
It's right on the card.
Yeah, they're trying to get me to do it again, which is fine. Yeah. And listen, if I do end up going to Disney again, I will do this again because it was worth it. We got as I've said many times on this show about this, you're getting a memory maker for $99. Like, I mean, you can't go wrong.
That
with
alone, that. That alone's worth it, and then all the other perks as well.
Yeah, because listen, Memory Maker is like $200. I mean, it's it's not cheap. You're getting it for $99. You're getting a waiver of the $95 fee if you want to use convert your points for other stuff. You get one-time use point. I mean, you can you can do 2-for-1 one-time use points. There's you can use points for annual pass purchase, and then the lounge thing is awesome. Like I told you my story about what happened at the lounge at Magic Kingdom, where a lady was yelling at the cast member. And, as she walked away, says to me, like, don't even bother if you're not on the wait list. And I was like, okay. And I walked up and the cast member's like, well, we wait list is full for today. I was like, well, even if I'm a membership Magic Beyond, member. And she's like, well, you said the magic words and I'll get you right in. And I'm just like, oh, okay. This feels very fancy and very, considering I paid $100 for this feels very, very nice.
That's a cheat code.
Yeah, it was a cheat. No, dude, it was. It felt like a cheat code because it was just like it's like I just paid $100 for this thing, and I walk up and this lady's yelling, and 10 minutes later I'm in the lounge. And it's like score one for me. Like this is awesome, So and then I mean, listen, I'm not gonna say I used the Memory Maker to its fullest this past year because I didn't. I mean, obviously the only time I actually had pictures was at the party. I think was when we had it.
You didn't stop and hit up like photographers or anything, but I mean, you still get all the ride photos though.
Well, no, but we did some pictures at the party. We did some photo pass prior to the party, right? So like the hours before the party, just because I knew we had that free entitlement, so I was like, let's just take some pictures so that and we'll have them, and that was worth it. But like I said, just for those two things, I was like, okay, I'll take it. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, let us know if you got one of these. I mean, I don't know if any of our listeners did a membership Magic Beyond, but I
haven't heard anything. So yeah, I guess people on Facebook or in the Discord, if you've gotten or if you've done membership Magic Beyond, let's hear about it because Tom's had his experience, but let's hear yours.
Well, now that you're eligible for it, Trevor, like when you go to the park, if you go to the parks next year, are you going to do it if you go?
Well, yeah, definitely. Like even the funny thing is that like you said, there's like the 2-for-1 one-time points and all that. Like because of the trip that we're planning, we're going to be spending a lot more points than we normally would, and I'm already prepared that I may have to buy extra points when we hit a certain, like our plans are going to use a lot of points, and a lot of it is because of the fact that yes, we are, a couple of nights in a bungalow is a ton of points. So
yeah,
I'm most likely, or I mean, yeah, if this plays out the way that we want it to, yes, I will be buying a membership Magic Beyond membership. And yeah, the funny thing is that it's, the photo pass thing is or the memory maker is obvious, but then it's like, I am probably going to use the one-time use points, and I guess whatever else comes up with it. The only thing that I wonder though,
you'll use it for
the lounge, but also like, I wouldn't be surprised if they change up perks and stuff with this over.
Oh yeah,
over time. I'm not assuming that what they're going to offer for 2026 is going to be the same as what they offer for 2027.
Yeah, it's a good assumption.
So that's part of it too, is that I need to actually see what comes of it in 2027, and that'll right now it's like it's an obvious like, I don't see why I wouldn't get it at this point, but unless they suddenly like drastically change it and it's I don't know, like, you can only get like 1 day of memory maker, and like it would have to be pretty insane, right? Like the changes to it. So, I mean, it's funny that, I will say, the fact that they gave out a slider is an interesting choice, because I can't recall seeing any sliders for like a couple of years now. Right. Like specifically MagicBand stuff, because it seemed like for a long time they were, not promoting the Magic Bands as much as I feel like they could have. But this is and this is not like them, like obviously promoting it, but I remember like previous years, like, annual pass holders and DVC and stuff, like it was like, there was always like, oh, you can get a slider if you do this, you can get a slider if you do that. I haven't seen that a lot in the last year or so. So I'm kind of surprised that they I actually thought when I first opened this, I thought it was a pin. And then when I found out it was a slider, I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. I remember a couple of years ago, they gave out the ones that just said like DVC member. I think they were giving them out at the parks, because I think I got one. I don't remember if they mailed it or not though. They might have, but I seem to remember getting one. It might have been at the park. I don't remember, but I also know they noted in this article that they were giving them out on the cruise ship too. That says like members at sea or whatever, which that's cool too if you get them on the cruise ships. But yeah, you're right. They're not. They haven't been as big of a thing, because we had ones for annual pass. In the past, so I think we still have our pass holder ones, and I
have a couple of pass holder ones too. So
and we still have our DVC member ones too. So I like the sliders. I always think it's kind of cool to do that. Although I don't know about you. This is something that drives me crazy. I can never find our Magic Bands. They're always like scattered all over the house in different places, and we have a lot of them. I mean, right. Especially when you remember when Magic Bands first started, and I've told this on the podcast before. My wife and I were part of the beta test for that, right? So like we were the early testers in the parks for that. We were selected for it, and we got to go and do it.
So you still have like version 1 Magic Bands?
Very much early version. We had those, and from then on for a while, until COVID, they were giving out free Magic Bands every time you booked a trip. Period. Mm-hmm. Right? Like you were getting free Magic Bands every single trip. And so we would just always get new Magic Bands. Why not? Right. And then of course we would just buy some too. Like I have a Vacation Club one. My wife's
there's always the nice ones. So there's the basic ones that you get, and you're like, I got these. They're good to have as a, if I lose a Magic Band or as a backup, but then you always want to buy a nice one for yourself, right?
Exactly. So, you got to buy like one of those limited edition ones, like I got one on the Treasure too. That was pretty cool. But like, there's so many of them, and they're just scattered everywhere in my house. Like I need a one-stop shop for my Magic Bands, because like I don't know where all of them are. And then every time, like right before we go on vacation, I'd say to my wife, I'm like, where are the Magic Bands? She's like, I don't know. Because you know what happens is, Trevor, and you don't have this problem as much, right? Because you fly in. But when we drive, after we leave the park for the last time, we take our Magic Bands off, and we tend to just kind of put them in like the middle console of the car.
Oh, yeah.
And we just forget that they're there. They just end up sitting there for until the next time we go to Disney, and then we're like, I think they're in the middle console, and then we find them, But
yeah, we don't have that problem. So I know where all my Magic Bands are, and there's 3 spots in the house that my Magic Bands exist.
You are far more organized than I am, my friend.
well, but okay. So just to counter your point of losing Magic Bands everywhere. So I have our day travel pack for when we travel by air to Orlando. I have 3 Magic Bands in a bag inside of that day pack, because that's always when we get there, making sure that, when we get off the bus, not when we get off the bus, but like even previously when it used to be the Magical Express, we made sure that we had a Magic Band so we could scan in on the Magical Express. But I still keep those, like it's those same Magic Bands. So when we get off the bus at the Polynesian, we could just immediately go to our room. Same as you, though. We got a bunch of extra ones over the years because we were always getting them with every trip that we booked. Those are all in a bag that there's actually, sorry, I guess, So the majority of them are in a bag. And then the ones that we actually want to take with us, like before a trip, I'll go through the bag and I'll be like, which ones do you want to take? Right. And I'll say to my wife, like, do you want, like, you have this like specific red one that you got. There's like a one with Walt on it that you have. And so she'll pick out like 3 or 4 that she wants to take with her. And those get added to the, to our travel bag. And then, so outside of that, the only other place that I know that there's a Magic Band in the house is that we, I think you remember years ago, we bought it looks like the scanner at or the touch point when you go into the parks.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a Magic Band nearby to that because it's sitting on a shelf, and occasionally, like, everyone in my family does this, is we occasionally walk by and we just scan it for the sake of hearing the.
Oh, I would do that too. Yeah, I just do it randomly. Yeah,
because usually the funny thing about it is that most of the time it does like the standard notification, but every once in a while you get the purple welcome home notification. So we're always like scanning it, like who's going to get lucky to get the purple one, right?
My wife gets mad every time we go to the parks because for some reason only my Magic Bands do the welcome home. Maybe, I don't know if I'm like the primary member or something, but like only mine says welcome home and hers does it. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
that's to do with how they have your account configured, because
it has to be. Yeah.
Because mine and my wife's, because we're both on our deed and we're both listed as members, we both get the purple scan in. So By the way, I had to pull this up while you were talking. I have 11 active Magic Bands, which isn't that much. Some of them I have a bunch that are deactivated. So there are like, I think that's less than me at this point, because I'm pretty sure I have more than 11, just again because of how we acquired them over the years. Well,
like I said, I have a bunch of inactive ones though too, because I've got the really, really old ones. So but yeah, I thought I had more than that. I'm surprised I don't have more than that. Now, given most of these are probably just like missing or got thrown away or got lost, or I don't know. Although it's funny, it still says Disney pass holder on here. I haven't been a pass holder in years. It's funny it says affiliation Disney pass holder. It doesn't even say affiliation DVC, just pass holder.
All right, maybe.
Okay,
whatever. Don't argue it.
Yeah, I mean, okay,
that's cool. Up for them to fix.
I actually think the last time we were there, they gave us a pass holder discount, and I looked at it because I was looking, like you have to pull up the thing now on your phone, and they look at the little indicator, and for some reason my indicator still says that I'm a pass holder, and I'm like, I don't know why.
Mine does too, but it says DVC and pass holder, and I've looked at, like, I've actually tried to like grab a new card off of the site and put it in. Still says the same thing, but I don't think it matters, or because I honestly don't know how much different the DVC and the pass holder discount is at this point. I don't think there is any difference. Is there?
It's the same. No, it's usually the same. I don't know. I don't think it's any different. So yeah. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about, Trevor, only because it's funny, right? We've been talking about like the mysterious work they're doing on the facade of the Haunted Mansion.
Yep.
And someone pointed this out on Discord. I think it was Chris, maybe. I'm sorry
I
if
thought
I'm
it was
misattributing.
Dan
Or Jason. One of the,
Hey guys.
one of you guys. Okay, one of you guys alerted us to this, and made me really laugh. So they have the whole of the Haunted Mansion, the whole facade now is got the scrim around it, right? And when they first started this work, it was just like that general green scrim that they put up sometimes. But now it's like a printout of the exterior of the Haunted Mansion, which, listen, I think the green part would be terrible, and this is only slightly less terrible. Right? Like, because I understand why they're doing it, but I also am just like, I don't know. Is it really that much better?
The funny thing about it is that it's better only because of the fact that it's
certainly funnier.
It's funny because it's the equivalent of I equate it to like if I was quickly merging stuff together with MS Paint, where you like copy and paste images. Like that's what it looks like, right? Is that it's like you put like an MS Paint image over the Haunted Mansion. But the funny thing is that it at least gives an accurate representation of what's there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Which I think, for those of us that go all the time, it's like it's very glaringly like, oh, this is, this is under construction, whatever. Somebody who is new to Disney, or maybe that like this hasn't, or they don't go often or at all. If it was just a green scrim, there would be a lot of like, what is this? What am I doing here? What am I looking at? Right. Yeah. Like it's very off-putting, honestly, that, if it's just like a generic green barrier in front of them, they go like, I came all this way to see a giant green block. Like, what are we doing here? Right.
Yeah.
Whereas at least if it's the picture of it, it's like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be. But also it's under construction. So, okay, fair. Right. I think it does contribute to perception that, having the picture on the outside, for as goofy as it does look to us, I get why it does make sense to spend the extra time to do that. Yeah. But also, hey, I thought that they were just expanding the queue.
Yeah, that is part of why that's on here. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a lot more than just queue expansion that's going on right now.
Yeah, it is. So, by the way, I did go and check this out, and it was Jason. Thank you, Jason. And Dan did comment on it. The walls. Dan said the walls with the image of the building behind them on it always crack me up. It's like they're trying not to disappoint folks, but I don't know who looks at that and says, "Wow, look at the Haunted Mansion." Like that, it is. And Ashley pointed out kind of the same thing you did, which is, can you imagine someone who had no clue and just took a picture in front of it? Right. I mean. Yeah. I can't imagine that there are people like that, right? That just walk up and that they think that this is how the Haunted Mansion just looks, right?
You'd be surprised. Like, again, you have to remind yourself that we have very intimate knowledge and intimate
I forget
relationship with Disney. I know. And so to us, this seems obvious, but there are people that would go there and be like, I guess this is it. And they would just like they would just go with it. And I mean,
it's kind of hilarious though, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they put the what is that guy? Grave keep? What? I can't remember. The graveyard guy.
The graveyard guy. He has a name. The caretaker.
Thank you. The caretaker. Yeah.
I want to say, yes.
I mixed up graveyard with crypt keeper and I don't know where I was going with that, but I find it funny that they put him on the outside of the scrim, like he would actually be standing there, except he's not.
Yeah,
like it doesn't. That's an interesting choice that somebody chose to like slap that on the outside.
Yeah, I so to your point though, to go back though to Trevor, it's like, so what else are they doing here? Like, are they just extending the facade, and because of that, they need to make sure that the rest of the facade blends in with it? Is the whole outside getting a spruce up? Like, while they do this, might as well give the whole outside a whole new, I don't know, lighting package or something. I don't know. They could be doing a lot of things, I guess. But it is interesting that they've got this whole thing scrimmed up and are, it's kind of a mysterious thing. We don't really exactly know what they're doing. I mean, we assume they're making changes to the facade, but
I think you're probably right on a couple of points there. My initial thought around this is, we talked about how the surrounding area is going to drastically change, and you're going to have like sight lines are going to be very different going to the Haunted Mansion. Because right now it's kind of like shoved into a corner because of where it is next to Rivers of America. Yeah. I feel that you're right. They're probably looking at lighting. They're probably doing some touch-ups to it because they want to make sure that it
blends. Yeah.
Well, not that it blends, but also that it pops. That
pops.
It looks the part for where it's going to be situated next to new pathing, and also probably the fact that I don't know how visible it's going to be from. I keep wanting to call it Radiator Springs Racers, but Piston Peak is what the area is called. Yeah. But there's a good chance that it'll be visible from Piston Peak, and somebody might have been looking and going like, oh, we should probably like do some touch up to this because, we all do this. Like you're looking off into the distance from a ride, like even like Splash Mountain or Tiana's Bayou Adventure is a great example of this. Is like when you come out over the top, like you can see the whole park. I'm always like looking off into the distance to see what things I can see that maybe you can't see from a normal angle. I feel like this is part of it, is that maybe with Piston Peak, there's going to be opportunities for people to see the Haunted Mansion, and somebody may be looking and going like, oh, we need to make sure that it looks right, or that there's not like, there could be a section of it that, previously wasn't covered with a facade that nobody saw about, or nobody saw or cared about before. Yeah. That maybe they need to cover it up now. That's my thinking, is that, they're planning for what this is going to look like when the whole area is done. Is what I think this is, but I'm honestly surprised that we started from like, oh yeah, they're just doing work to the queue, but it's like I'm surprised that the whole thing is getting a touch up now. Yeah,
it's way more than that, for sure. Mm-hmm. All right, Trevor. Why don't we go
that's
ahead and
interesting.
Do our ad?
Yeah,
let's do our ad. I just thought it was hilarious. Honestly, when Jason said that in the Discord, I was like, "That's amazing that they've done that." So that was funny. But anyway.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that they could have just left it as the green blob, and that would have been equally as funny. But doing that little bit extra, I think it's funny to us, but I see where it's beneficial for.
It's also a very Disney thing to do too. Of course,
it is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and do the ad, and then we got like some Disneyland stuff we'll talk about. We'll end the show with all Disneyland.
Sounds good. So this week, our sponsor is DVC Rental Store. DVC Rental Store is a keyholder vacation company that offers magical vacations at incredible value. Save up to 60% off retail rates at premium Disney resorts. DVC Rental Store now includes deposits as low as 25% at the time of booking and a built-in cancellation policy for every reservation. And as always, DVC Rental Store pays out the most to members looking to rent their points. Want to learn more? Go to dvcrentalstore.com/welcome home or call 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 382-7368. When you speak to them, be sure to let them know the Welcome Home sent you.
All right. While you were doing that, I actually just submitted a request to find out some options for my point swap.
There you go.
Yeah. I want to do a point swap. I've got an absurd amount of points this year, Trevor. Because I banked a lot from last year, and so now I got all these points to use, and I gotta do something with them. So let's go on a cruise. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So the rest of the show is going to be about Disneyland. So if you don't care about Disneyland, you can go if you want, or you can hang around and listen to us talk about Disneyland. But like we mentioned, this is a little bit of a light week of news, but there's some interesting stuff going on at Disneyland. Yeah. And one of the first things we have on here, it's being reported that Disneyland has a new focus, essentially, that is to bring younger families into the parks. And we all know that Disneyland features more of a local guest population, right? And obviously they're trying to cater a little bit more to younger kids, which is kind of funny to say about Disney in general, because Disneyland and Disney in general caters to younger kids.
I mean,
but, yeah.
Yes and no. I mean, there's,
good.
Sorry, continue. Sorry, continue your thought.
No, it's all good. So a couple of the things that they're doing, and this is there's a couple of reports out there about this, is they're going to be debuting a new kids meal option for $5.99, which, pretty cheap for these days, and that's part of the things that a lot of people have issues with at Disney in general is just prices. Although I have always felt that the food prices, especially like quick service, were kind of reasonable. You can get a quick service meal for a decent quick service meal for, less than what I'm spending at, like, if I go to McDonald's nowadays, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that bad. Especially, and I talked about this last summer when I was going to our local theme park, like how, there was like a 3 chicken finger and fries with no drink was, $19.99 at my local amusement park. You can get much cheaper at a Disney park than that. But this includes a hot dog, a drink, and a mandarin orange, which is is pretty good a meal for a kid. My big problem is my daughter won't eat hot dogs. That really throws me off.
Yeah, I mean, fair. Like, not every kid likes hot dogs,
either,
but
too.
But I mean, I get it though that, like, I think back to when my son was very young, that it was like, desperately figuring out where you could get chicken nuggets or something that your kid. Which is essentially everywhere
at Disney, though, right? Yeah. You're not going anywhere at Disney where they don't have some sort of chicken tenders or chicken nuggets.
Yeah, but part of that too was, and also like we had the same challenge with our local amusement park as well, was that it's like, not overpaying for food for your kid when it's like when your kid's very young, that it's like, you spend $12-15 on a meal and they eat like 5 bites of it and then they're like, I'm full, right? And you kind of and you're looking at it and going, well, I guess I better finish this off even though I just ate a whole meal myself so that it doesn't go to waste, or at least that's what I was doing. I don't know about other parents.
Well, and then 5 minutes later they're like, I'm hungry, I want some cotton candy, I want some ice cream, it's like, but you just had lunch.
But like I said, it's that whole thing about like trying to, especially like when you have multiple kids, you're like, I was, I only had to deal with it from the lens of having a single child. But, when you scale that up to, 2-3 kids, that number multiplies. And I can see where, for a lot of families, it's very hard to justify, I'm not going to the park and spending $30 on meals for my kids that, they hardly touch. And then, like you said, then they're wanting, and yes, even as a kid too, I knew like I ate my meal, but then I was still eyeballing the candy in the candy store. And, I still wanted this and that and everything else because, priorities are different for kids. But, the fact that they're offering an affordable option, which like you said, it's not going to work for everybody, but, hey, at the very least, getting a basic hot dog and a drink and an orange,
fruit,
that's, for a lot of kids, that's enough. And it's enough that you can like, get past mealtime and, honestly save a lot of crash outs that happen with kids because we had this too, where it was, we were finding stuff for our kid and he would eat some of it, but then he also like, even like the like chicken strips, the problem I had with the chicken strips was they're seasoned, and for a young kid, the seasoning is sometimes a little too much. Like even though it's not like a lot.
Oh, I know all about that, my friend.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Like, kids are, they're more sensitive to that kind of stuff. So it's like, my kid there was a point where we were in Disneyland and he was eating, but he was unhappy because, we were trying to find stuff for him, but it was like the chicken strips weren't doing it. So, if we just had a hot dog, like that would have been like, great, here, eat a hot dog, like you're good. So I see where this is a good, this is a good thing. And, yes, like the whole comment about, well, it's not, hot dogs aren't the most healthy thing, I'm sorry, whatever you're feeding your kid is what you're feeding your kid. And you're in a theme park, like don't, don't be going for like, if you're telling me that you're going to eat 100% healthy in a theme park, you're lying. Like,
oh,
don't.
No. We don't really. I was not trying to say that I would not feed it to. If my daughter would eat a hot dog, she, we'd give her a hot dog, but she won't.
But I'm saying this as a general thing that, a lot of people try and go like, oh, yes, rightfully so. Yes, there should be healthy options, but it's like, you're at a theme park with your kids. They're hungry. Just live a little. Feed them. Like, live
a little. Trust me. This is a challenge for us all the time because we don't have any rules on vacation. It's like, we normally wouldn't let her eat this, and this, but you know what? We're on vacation. Have a pretzel. Have an ice cream. Like this is what vacation is for. Yeah. But so in addition to that, there also, of course, the Bluey thing that's going to be happening. And this is actually what prompted my daughter to say, so when are we going? Because, and this is at Disneyland, but, the Disney World one is also opening this summer. And I after I told my daughter about it, she's like, so when are we going? Because my daughter is obsessed with, she loves Bluey. I mean, listen, we love Bluey. I mean, don't get me wrong. We love Bluey is great. So, and it's just one of those things that has been, lasting. But the other part too is that they were they also were going to close Monsters Inc. Mike and Sully to the Rescue this year, but it was supposed to actually close soon here, but they just announced that they're going to push it to next year. So yeah.
So I like the fact that they're putting that under. Or okay, sorry, I'm going to break down this article and what they're saying here. Yeah. That, Disney is going, hey, we're making this more family accessible. We're going to keep Monsters Inc. around because, young kids like it, which is fair. However, there is an undertone to that said, the Avatar land that they were planning.
Kid friendly. Yeah.
One, it's not going to be kid friendly. Two, I wouldn't be surprised if they're shifting gears on the Avatar land because this does also play back into. I'm sure you didn't put it on the rundown because I guess it wasn't really news, but Josh D'Amaro, now that he's the CEO, has told Imagineers to go back to the drawing board on Villains Land.
Now, given that's a rumor, right? We can't.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's a rumor. But I've been seeing it a lot on various sites and stuff talking about hey, there has been a push for more creativity and kind of like it sounded like they had a plan for it, but it probably wasn't up to the level that Josh, I think, is expecting because being that Josh used to run the parks, he knows very intimately what kind of stuff should be there. And also the fact that, I'm sure I know he's been to Epic Universe. So I know he's looked at like, hey, here's like the bar for, what kind of stuff you can do in a park. And I have to wonder if, it's interesting that, the rumors about Villains Land and then them delaying closing down Monsters Inc., thereby delaying the Avatar stuff.
Yeah.
If that doesn't come back to, hey, we got to step up our game a little bit with how we're doing stuff in the parks, right?
Well, I also think the expectations for Villains Land are sky high, right? Like they are.
Oh yeah, they'll never be met.
Yeah, and they're never going to be met. And the funny thing about Villains, and this has been talked about a bunch. The whole Villains Land thing was like a thing on the internet for a long time, saying like this was a canceled Disneyland, but it wasn't. Like it was a piece of fan art that somebody made, and it wasn't that. Now they had planned to make a fantasy kind of kingdom in Animal Kingdom, and that didn't happen. But like a whole Villains Land was not really a thing and it got all over the internet, and everyone talked about the canceled Disneyland, whatever. So people are like really pumped for it, right? And it's going to be hard to meet that expectation. But at the same time, if you're looking at the plans and you're thinking to yourself, this isn't big enough. We need to be more ambitious, more bold, spend more money, make this bigger, bolder, because it's not going to. You're going to try to meet those expectations however you can, as high. You're going to try to, you don't want to be way below the expectations, but if you almost meet them, even though they're super high, you're going to be okay. But
Yeah.
I mean, if it was going to be this kind of, where they didn't spend a lot, and I forget who shared it, but I kind of said this where, I don't feel like, I feel like Disney gets a little bit of a bad rap on this because they do spend a lot of money on some lands and then don't spend as much on others, right? So like, I mean, Galaxy's Edge cost $1 billion in both of the parks. I mean, that was a lot of money they spent on that. But then Toy Story Land was much cheaper, and
Galaxy's Edge didn't even quite meet the expentations either.
That was impossible, though. They were never going to meet those expectations.
Well, Star Wars yes and no, but with the most recent changes to it, where they stopped trying to force the final trilogy narrative to it, they made some mistakes with how they framed it, I think is how that came about. And I think, again, this, I know this started from talking about $5 hot dogs, but, the interesting thing though, is that, like I said, the Avatar stuff in Disneyland and the villain stuff, and also Monsters Inc. in Disney World, I think, for as much, just because they spent a bunch of money on Galaxy's Edge doesn't mean it was spent well. It doesn't mean it was spent, to your point about, making sure that it has that wow factor to it. I think Galaxy's Edge, I think they had a lot of good intent with it, but there's this weird balancing act where it's not, it's not just about throwing money at the problem. It's about making sure that they actually have people looking at it from an angle of, imagineering or imagination, like how it's going to be perceived, how it's going to look at the end of the day. Because even if they spent all this money on these new lands, if they're the most basic, uninteresting things, sorry, but your baseline for competing with Villains Land is, if you go to Epic Universe and you go to Dark Universe, there is a windmill that's on fire every day there. You're competing with a windmill that's on fire every day, Disney.
Sure. Yeah.
That's
I mean, it's hard to compete with. I assume Villains Land will have lots of fire.
Well, but that's the thing, is maybe maybe they're realizing that they are missing on some aspects of it, right? I don't know.
It's funny to me you're so down on Galaxy's Edge, because I understand the Galaxy's Edge, but I think it's an incredibly well themed land.
Galaxy's Edge
well
for
done.
me. Okay, you know what? The thing about Galaxy's Edge for me is it's a great set piece. It looks great just as a static set piece. There is zero kinetic energy there.
Yeah,
that's my issue with it. When you go look at the new lands in Epic Universe, and sorry, I am comparing everything to Epic Universe because that's where the bar has been set for me, because I've experienced it. The kinetic energy is insane. There's always something moving. There's always something happening. And it's not like, it doesn't have to be big stuff, but just thinking back about it, in Burke, there's little animated robotic dragons everywhere. There's the roller coaster flying through the middle of the land. In the Harry Potter area, that there's shops that have magical things going on with them. There's street performers. There's all that kind of stuff. Galaxy's Edge, what do you have?
See, if you go into the shops and stuff, though, there's a lot of that kinetic energy going on.
But when you're walking around, but hold on, when you're walking around though, what do you have?
Yeah, stormtroopers. I've been accosted by stormtroopers a couple times. Chewbacca's walking around sometimes.
But again, the problem is that those things, they haven't been enough. I don't think because the times that we've been to Galaxy's Edge, I've not seen the stormtroopers walking around. It's kind of you have to hang around there long enough for something to happen. But then even outside of that, hanging out by the Millennium Falcon, there's occasionally noises and stuff, but there's nothing happening. There's nothing to draw your eye to. There's nothing to draw your attention to. And that's really, I think, what I hate on the most with Galaxy's Edge is that, yes, they put a lot of effort into it and it looks the part, but they didn't quite go far enough with making it feel like it's alive.
Okay.
That's my take on it. And yes, I know what you're saying. I know that yes, there is, everyone has their perspective on it. I just think that, I think Disney has seen what, other parks have done. And I think they're rethinking that, hey, you can't just build the set and say, come stand on the set. Like it has to have a certain amount of energy to it. And I have to wonder if they didn't account for having that energy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Every time I've gone into Galaxy's Edge, I've seen there's been characters all over the place and things going. Like it's almost too much going on. But I don't know. Maybe I just have gone in good times and seen that, because I've always seen stormtroopers. I've seen Rey. I saw R2-D2 floating around one time.
Like I said, I've not seen any of that in person.
That's crazy.
The only time
you need to give it another shot. You need to give it another shot.
The only time actually that we had a run-in with stormtroopers was actually at Launch Bay.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. So that, like, I guess that's my personal experience, right?
I think we need to go again, because I've seen tons of people like characters walking around there and things going on, especially if you like walk into like the droid building place. Like there's all sorts of cool stuff going on in there. And, some of the shops, and like there's I forget what the animal is that's by the water fountain. That's like, when you go to drink from the water fountain, he's in the pipe there looking at you. It's like, there's a lot of that cool stuff. It's just, I get what you're saying though. Maybe you just, yeah.
I guess, or the hard part for me is after going to Super Nintendo World.
Well, like, everything's moving there, right?
Yeah. Getting hit over the head with like you can't turn your head without like seeing something flipping or moving or whatever. Like
that works.
It doesn't feel,
though. You wouldn't want Galaxy's Edge to have like everything. Like you wouldn't have that much movement in Galaxy's Edge.
No, you're right. But like I said, I think it's like I said. I think maybe the problem is that it does lean heavily on the street performer aspect of it, which I do. I appreciate that it's there, and I appreciate that they have wandering characters, but the problem with that is that it's a timing thing too, that if you're not there at the right time, that like it's all or nothing, right?
Yeah.
So I know, sorry, that this went way down a rabbit hole about,
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
Park design. We were talking about, okay, back to the point of, yes, they're doing things to attract younger kids to these parks, but also I think that's also being veiled as a means of buying themselves some time to rethink some of the things they have planned for Disneyland as well. So that's what I take out of this article. And you can, I'll leave my tinfoil hat on, and that's fine. But that's what I think.
I think it's a little more. They're trying to pull more locals in because they're not getting as many international guests. I just read an article about that.
That is a challenge too right now. Is that international travel is a hard thing for people going to Disney at the moment. Or rather, a lot of people are looking at the international Disney parks, so like Paris and Tokyo, because
The other thing they're doing, and I don't want to get deep into this one, but they've been trying to make their attractions more reliable and have more people riding. What were you laughing about?
The way that this article, the way this is worded is incredibly
bad.
Bad.
Yeah. It makes it sound like they added 1.5 million rides.
Can you read it verbatim just so that people can understand what we're
Disneyland boasts 1.5 million more rides in 2025. Like, I don't even need to read the whole thing. Just the idea of the 1.5 million more rides. When I first read that, I was like, that's a lot of rides to add to the park. That's not what they mean.
You better get busy.
That's not what they're saying. Obviously, they're trying to put more money into maintenance and to reduce breakdowns and to make the capacity better, by having, and I don't know if people actually know this, and really only if you're like a nerd like me about these things would you know about it, but like Disney operates in different capacities depending on the day, right? So like they can, when they're super busy, they will run more trains or more cars, and will fill things more than other days when they're less busy. Like, and so that's, something that they do. This, there's things also too here like Mickey. So they're talking about they are running 4 trains simultaneously at Disneyland Railroad, right? Which is basically, so you pretty much never have to wait essentially, and they're getting more people to go around. But one of the things they mentioned here too is that in Credit Coaster and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, they don't let you have phones, because they mention it. The nerdy part of me makes it. I love this. 13% of all downtime is caused by guest behavior, such as dropping phones or jumping out of ride vehicles and stuff like that. So a lot of the time when you're stopped on a ride, it's because a guest did something that they shouldn't have done. And we experienced this on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway specifically, because somebody had dropped something on the ride path and that had caused a stoppage, right? And they actually yelled at that person over the loudspeaker, like to stop dropping things. And so that's something people don't realize, I think, is that those kinds of things happen. So but the quote here is that we know being able to enjoy more attractions in a day plays a big role in how guests feel about their visit. Work behind the scenes to care for our attractions is one of the most important ways we can invest in making the guest experience the best it can be. And listen, a lot of people have been complaining. I mean, like, I'm sure people have been complaining about this for like 50 years, that they feel like Disney is investing less in maintenance and that there's more things breaking down, and there's that rides are down far more often than they used to be, and that may or may not be true. I honestly don't know, unless I had the statistics for that. I don't know, but I mean, I guess perception is reality for a lot of people, right? So if the perception is that they're down a lot more, I mean, that could be true, and it's actually good to kind of see this kind of change. And you notice we're seeing these kinds of things, as Josh is getting ready to take the chair, they're starting to do some other things operationally, to make some different improvements. This is why I think he's going to be a huge positive for the parks, because I think these kinds of things are things that he's going to prioritize, especially at Disneyland and Disney World.
Yeah, this very much sounds like something that Josh had on his, like, I want to do this, or I've wanted to do this for a while, but he didn't have the ability to push it through. Whereas now, as the CEO, it's not that he gets carte blanche to just do whatever he wants, but he can definitely, course correct and push things into directions that he wants to see far more now in that position. And part of it, like, I get the whole thing. Like, I immediately when I was reading this about ride availability and all that, the obvious one for me at Disneyland has always been Indiana Jones, because like I've seen, like, in the amount of times I've been to Disneyland, I've seen Indiana Jones break down so many times that, like, it's and also, like, reading about, like, what it takes, like, and like the same problems you were talking about. So, like, somebody, their hat flies off and, lands on the track, and it, like, it causes like a 30-minute delay because a cast member needs to go through, take the thing off the track. They have to run safety checks. They have to do all this stuff. Yeah. And then also the ride itself having just, a bunch, like there was a bunch of things about it that, were maintained over the years, but just flaws in the ride that it's like, if they fix the flaw, they wouldn't have to keep taking it down for maintenance, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what it sounds like they're trying to do here, is that they're fixing things that they also talk about in this article, like adjusting like load times and stuff, is making sure that, like, people getting to the front of the line, that it's like what to do to get into the car. You're not like standing there with your family, like, figuring out positioning in the ride when it's like you should be getting into the car, kind of stuff. Exactly, there's ways for them to help, get people situated and ready to load, which again, that all feeds into, the ride availability, right? Because, if you're spending, I've seen this too many times on Space Mountain, and like Space Mountain in Disneyland is different than Disney World, because it's a side by side in Disneyland, so it's a lot easier. But these families where it's like, it's like the mom and the kid are trying to figure out, and like the mom is like, oh, you stand here, but then like the kid's going to be behind the mom, and the kid doesn't know how to like get the lap bar, like it's and it's like, you guys and sorry again, this is me as like, a Disney person who's been doing this for years. Is it's like, and really it doesn't just apply to Disney. Like for me, this, I guess, is like anywhere I go, is it's like, instead of being on your phone or like, not paying attention, like when you're getting up to the point of loading a ride, like there
Get
should
ready.
like people should be paying attention to like, how did people get onto this ride? Like you can watch like, 5 or 10 people before you get onto the ride, and you can figure out like for your family, like, hey, okay, we're all gonna, these people go in front. We'll line up this way. But, and I get, not everyone has that mindset to do so, but I think Disney's trying their best to help people, like prompt, like, hey, get your party organized, 2 people per cart, go, right? Like it's stuff like that they're trying to improve.
I've seen so many people though, like also just like get mad when they like tell them to like move all the way down the row. You know what I mean? Like people are like, oh, why are you making me do that? Like, or why are you asking me to like, get squeeze in here? And it's like, I don't understand why people don't make the connection. Like, oh, they're having me squeeze in so that the wait time is less for everyone. Like, just like you do it for that reason.
It's not seeing the bigger picture of it, right?
Yes,
and I think that's what they're working on here. Is they're trying to improve the overall picture, and they're trying to get it. Some of it is a little bit of compromise. That yes, just sorry, but yelling at people like move down is like you're not. I see where, on the receiving end of that it's not always, it's not the right way to handle it necessarily. But I also get that, after they've told, 30 people the same thing, that, you don't exactly have patience for that one person that's, staring off into the distance when they should be moving down. So
the other operational thing that they're improving too is they're getting rid of the park hopping rule, where you have to the 11 a.m. park hopping rule. So where you have to wait till 11. Yeah,
I'm surprised that was still in place. I didn't realize that was still a thing at Disney, but I guess initially I was like, okay, what are you doing that you need to park hop before 11 a.m.? But I can see I can see people going and like hitting up like a Haunted Mansion or, going to Incredicoaster, and then, going over to or actually even like Radiator Springs Racers. Like maybe
you just want to like rope drop something and then you want to hop over to the other place of the day,
I would rope drop Radiator Springs Racers and then go back over to Disneyland proper. Like that, that makes sense to me. So, okay. I
change your opinion on that.
because initially I was like, well, I could hang out in the park until 11 a.m., but it's like, no, I see, like, because of the proximity of the parks and like they are so close together, I see where the 11 a.m. restriction is very
restrictive,
very difficult. Yeah, it does actually cause you extra pain that you don't need, right?
Yeah, so, exactly. The only other thing I still had on here, Trevor, and I don't know how deeply you want to talk about this, but for the 70th anniversary of Disneyland, their Topps is coming out with a new set of trading cards. And listen, I liked cards when I was a kid, right? But these are pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. The neat thing about them is they have some really cool, like old school stuff on here. Right, like they have like the monorail,
like old concept art and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Old concept art. They have like the Space Mountain cast member costume like card. They have a Disney dollar one, which if
Disney
you don't,
Disney dollars,
if anybody still has Disney dollars laying around, let us know. But I really like these like that famous painting of Disneyland, like that first one that they did, and then. There's some really neat like construction photo ones. I think the coolest one to me though, actually, as like, especially for like kids, is they have ones that are unsigned autograph cards. So like they have Elsa, Mickey, Minnie, Chip, Dale, Ariel, and Stitch, and then some other ones. And it's a card with the character on it, and then it has a blank on the bottom for the character to sign it. Which I think is really cool, because when I was a kid, I had the book of, like you'd had the autograph book and you take it around, but the card thing's pretty cool too. Like, because you could like have these cool trading cards that are signed, and it makes it, I think it's a neat idea.
Yeah, I definitely like that a lot more than the autograph book, because like from a display standpoint, like, when I, if I get a character's autograph, it's, the fact that's in the book, it's like unless you're like yanking pages out of the book to like display them somewhere, it doesn't really work, right? Like you can put the book out as a display piece, but it doesn't, like, if there's a particular character you're a fan of that you want to have as like part of a larger display, yeah, like I would totally make sense to have it as something where, yeah, you get Elsa to sign the card, and then you have it on you have it in with a bunch of other memorabilia at home. Like for us, I guess it would be, my son, when he was younger, and he still has a lot of it. Like he has a bunch of Stitch memorabilia. Getting a Stitch trading card and having Stitch sign it would be like, that would be something he would want to do. And the funny thing about this is that, initially, like you said, I was looking at these trading cards, and I was like, oh yeah, they're neat, but like I'm not big into trading cards anymore. Like you, I had cards when I was younger for various things. Yeah. But I was like, that this doesn't seem very like something that I would be after. But, knowing like if I had kids or grandkids of an age where, they were like, oh, I'm after a particular character, I would probably be buying some of these to get some of those, if there was like that character's card, I would be hunting for that character's card.
Oh, absolutely.
To get it, which is funny because then you end up like, it does kind of make you feed into, like you say, you're buying, packs of trading cards. You're trading with people or whatever.
You end up with a bunch of duplicates and stuff,
Yeah. Yeah. Which, I mean, that part's funny, but like it does add another layer to trading cards as well. Which I like. I do like when trading cards are more than just collecting the cards themselves, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, I know you probably, or you might have caught this, but you might have missed it. So on the cards that have the like, it's like the old like Disneyland concept art and the construction art and everything. In the top right-hand corner, there is a half red, half white bulb, which is a reference. I know about this. To a particular bulb on Main Street that they had to do that with because it was easier than redoing the entire. Yeah.
What a great little Easter egg. And good on you for noticing that, man. I did not notice that at all. And I know about it, but that's funny.
The funny thing was, I was flipping through these and I saw the bulbs and I was like, oh, did they actually put, and then I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, they did put the bulb there.
It's really funny. I didn't notice that. Good call out.
So yeah, lots of good detail in these cards if you're after some Disney memorabilia. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap this up, Trevor.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So yeah, as usual, if you guys have any questions or, want to share your own stuff, experiences about, Disney, anything like that, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. You can also check out our website, which is welcomehomepodcast.co. You can reach us through there as well. It has a link to contact us through. So you can either use the Gmail address or you can go to the website. Either way works. We love hearing from you guys and hearing what you think about the show and all that. And you can also find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. Make sure on Facebook you check out our group Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, where we have conversations about all the stuff in from the show. I want to actually make a quick shout out to my wife, who has been helping us with a lot of our social media posts on there. I saw she made a post about asking people how they got into DVC or where they found out about DVC. I've seen a bunch of your stories, sharing, that how you guys all found out about DVC or your first memories of it. Very interesting to see that. Love seeing that kind of stuff because it just really reminds me how, it is different for everybody. And it's kind of cool how even though we're all like looking at the same thing, how much different all of our experiences are with it. So, stuff like that is great to see. Love to see conversations like that and just people sharing their points of view on Disney and all that and DVC. And so, outside of all that, if you want to help support the show, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.co. check out our different merch. We got some cool stuff in there. We got hats now. We got water bottles, fanny packs. Somebody said they didn't like us calling them fanny packs. There was another name for it, like a waist bag or something like that.
They're not called fanny packs? I thought they were called fanny packs.
I think I can't remember who said it. It might have been somebody on the Discord said that they didn't like the term fanny packs because it's like a 90s term, but I like it. It's fine.
I like it because it is a 90s term.
Yeah, exactly. So it's fine. But we got all kinds of stuff in there. So you know, you can go and check that out. We are going to be adding more stuff as time goes on. Again, just as we have time to do it. But you know, like I said, it is a new store. It's got, you know, if you haven't been there in a while, maybe go have a look. 10%
off.
Yeah.
10% off till the end of February.
That.
Yep, 10% off on every item till the end of February.
You got another week, so yeah, if you want to go get some merch, go grab something out of the store. Similarly, we also have a Patreon, so you can go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod, and you can check out our different levels of Patreon support, which have exclusive merch that you can only get in the Patreon. So it's a logo that we only offer in the Patreon. You can't get it on the store. Also, all of our Patreon supporters get access to the Discord server, which, as we talked about, you know, we have great conversations in Discord, similar to what we have on Facebook, but it's a little more intimate. And Discord is a little bit of a different vibe. Kind of, I guess, back to like an old, maybe I'm dating myself, you know, like forum chats or forum posts, if you remember those. Yeah, it's kind of that. But, you know, again, great conversations on there. People bringing up, you know, their own experiences with Disney and, you know, talking about planning and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, if that's of interest to you, please go check out the Patreon so you can get into the Discord server. And last but not least, if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, and where you can leave us a 5-star review, do so. Not because, you know what? Because I would like it to be 5 stars, but also, you know, if you leave us a 5-star review, it just helps the algorithm put it out there to more people, and that's really all we want out of it is, you know, get it out to more people. You know, also share it with your friends as well. If you think there's somebody that would enjoy the show, you know, share it with them. You can also write us a review on iTunes as well. We love hearing what you guys think about the show as well. So I think that's it for me. I know I've been sick the last couple of weeks, so it's been very like I forget how to do the my brain forgets how to do the wrap up sometimes.
I get that. I do want to give a shout out, by the way, to listener Bill, who wrote us an email and shared his Disney account. And Bill is an awesome listener and emails every once in a while to share some of his Disney stuff, and just shared that he's going on the Wonder before 4 days at the villas at the Disneyland villas. So and he also said too, by the way, he said being semi-retired has drawbacks. I no longer bike commute to and from work, so I have less opportunity to listen to your great show, which is very nice of Bill to say. So, and I met Bill at our meetup that we did, and he's a very nice guy. So anyway, enjoy your vacation, Bill. All right.
Yes.
Enjoy that vacation. Enjoy Disneyland. Enjoy the Wonder. Have fun. The other thing you can do for the show is subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast, so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Spotify, YouTube Music, literally any podcast app that's out there. I think we're on iHeartRadio, and you know, there's a whole bunch I didn't list that we're on. There's a million of them, honestly. So just go search. Yeah. What?
Sorry, you broke my brain for a second there because you've been saying Stitcher for so long, and I know you took it out because it doesn't exist anymore. But I was waiting for it. And then I was like, wait a minute. But sorry.
No joke. We've been doing this for so long, Trevor, that even though it's not there anymore, in my head, I'm just like, don't say Stitcher.
Yeah,
don't say Stitcher.
I swear I almost heard you say it. Like
because it's like I don't even really need to read this anymore. We've done it so many times. I have it in my head. But because it's in, I like it. It's just in. And there was also like a nice little like almost cadence
rhythm
to it, you know? Yeah, there's like a rhythm to it. Yeah. And so like without it there, it feels awkward and wrong. And I feel like I need to change like the order of things. But
we need to find another thing. Sorry, I know I completely derailed your closeout, but yeah.
Huge thank you to DVC Rental Store for sponsoring this episode, and of course Keyholder Vacations for sponsoring the show. And by the way, we are going to have Danny from DVC Resale Market on in the next week or two here, and we are eventually, hopefully, going to have Dapper Danielle back on again too. So we got some things coming up here.
So, sorry, we should probably touch on that real quick. We've been trying to get Dapper Danielle, but it's a matter of scheduling. It's just finding time. She's very
busy. We're very busy.
Yes,
so yes.
Exactly. So
yeah, we're gonna make it happen, and we're gonna do it on video this time. So that should be a lot more fun. We're gonna do a video episode.
We're trying to. Just we don't want to set anybody up that it's 100%. We're really trying our best to get it. Yeah,
because I know people. We announced it previously, and we people want to have her back on to talk about the Epcot book, and we want to too. We said we were going to. So also we got a food time we're gonna have coming up here sometime here soon too for the Flower and Garden Festival, since that menu just came out, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, outside of that, again, thank you to Keyholder Vacations for sponsoring this episode. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC. Do a house when we had a chair, how she can cobble